Welcome to the Tao of Women. What a gift it is to be here with you. I'm bowing to the presence of those of you that are live on Zoom and on Facebook and YouTube and everybody that is on the replay. Just know that you're present in this space. And we are going to explore another beautiful passage from the Tao of Women. So, as we prepare ourselves to receive the wisdom of the Tao, let's just take a moment to ground into this present moment and taking a moment to receive your breath and allow your body to unfurl and unfold and open as you shift your perception, as you shift away from the outside world and you turn toward your inner wisdom, as you turn toward the Tao. Having another breath or two here, supporting you to arrive. Anchoring into the present moment, opening ourselves. Today's passage of the Tao of Women is number 16. Mm. Cycles. There must be separation before one can return. There must be winter before there can be spring. Every seed needs time for growth. Every woman needs time for herself. The moon creates the tides. A woman in touch with her own nature welcomes the ebb and flow of life. Taking a breath to breathe that in, and we'll read it again and we'll see what else is here for us on our second read. Cycles. There must be separation before one can return. There must be winter before there can be spring. Every seed needs time for growth. Every woman needs time for herself. The moon creates the tides. A woman in touch with her own nature welcomes the ebb and flow of life. And I'm going to show you the character in case you don't have the book. Remember, the Tao of Women is wonderful for the Tao Te Ching, but it's also for these little tiny characters, this hidden language of women that was almost lost. And so this is cycles. So let's take our time and create the space we need for our Qigong practice. So I invite you to clear your space. And as you start to arrive into your space, feel yourself like you're combing through your environment. You're opening your fingers and your palms. You're opening your perception and your awareness as we start to explore this passage. Let's see what's here for us. That first line says something like everything must separate before it can return. And that's what really inspired this practice today. So as you find your feet on the ground. Feel your feet start to flatten out and make contact with the floor. And feel it as if you have roots rooting down into earth. And as you do so, feel the top part of your body, your head, start to lift and rise toward heaven, toward the sky. And as we do, we'll bring our hands together, and it's like there's a tall stool behind us, and we'll just sit down on that stool, and that'll help us drop our pelvis and our tailbone down to the earth. And let's just be here in this vertical alignment for a moment. And now we will practice separating heaven and earth. This is a very famous Qigong form. It's a part of many sets, many schools teach this as variations. But in this variation, let's just explore and play with this first as a stretch, and then we'll drop into the flow. But we need to learn it first. So when we're in vertical alignment, we have our hands like we're holding a chi ball here. Okay. So what we're going to do, our palms are facing each other. And as we're just learning, what we're going to do is we're going to turn our lower palm toward the earth as our top hand rises, and then our top palm turns toward the sky. And then we're going to stretch and open and separate heaven and earth as we stand between earth and sky. And so we're just learning here. So go ahead on your top hand, drop your elbow. And as you do, your hand will spiral down and draw your pinky toward you. And at the same time, the bottom hand starts to float up. Also, draw your pinky toward you. Now, switch your hands. Let your bottom hand spiral to the heavens and your top hand spiral now down to the earth and press. Soften, drop your elbow, spiral your pinky toward you. And as you do, you're closing your body, And then as you spiral your palms toward heaven and earth and you stretch, you rise up and you open your body. Dropping your elbow, spiraling your pinky. There is a closing of your spine. And then as you spiral your palms, pressing them away from each other, there's an opening and a lengthening of your spine. Let's just be here for a minute and just see how your breath starts to merge with the movement. When I exhale, that's when I open. And then when I inhale is when I spiral in and close in. So everything must separate before it can return. Feel this returning, this closing, and this separating. And make this be a stretch, like press. Because every woman needs time of her own. And I would also translate that as space for her to grow. So we're going to create space. And now here, let's create a little bit more space. Top hand and bottom hand separate, and you turn your gaze toward your top fingers as you push your palms away, as you open up this side body. And then return, drop your elbows, spiral down. Open up, press, stretch, separate, lean, grow toward your fingers, and then In the passage, it spoke of a seed needs time and space to grow. So let's create that time and space for our seeds to grow as you look toward your top finger. Every woman is in touch with the ebb and flow of her life. So as we stretch here, coming in contact with what it feels like when we're open and stretch and what it feels like when we're closing, drawing inside ourselves. Let's do one more just piece. The top hand, turn and look over the shoulder. I'm not looking over my shoulder, but I'm turning toward my top hand and like I'm separating heaven and earth as I have a gentle twist in my spine as I open my chest, creating a lot of room for the seed to grow and a lot of space for myself as I return back, closing, opening, spiraling, pressing, and now turn toward that side of the hand that's up and separate your palms and then return. Feeling there is a cycle and a season for everything. There's a season for growing. There's a season for stretching, a season for maintaining and working hard, and a season for harvesting and returning, a season and a cycle of releasing, a cycle of reflecting, and a cycle of returning home. And so now we've stretched and opened and we've had some engagement here. Now you can just start to drop into the flow, making this soft. And you may choose to continue to twist and look over your shoulder, or you may choose to simply unfurl your spine as you separate your palms and stay in vertical alignment. Because you're a natural woman in touch with your own instincts and your own needs and your own time. So as you soften this, start to let this flowing movement, this aliveness unfurl you and start to allow the chi to do the work. It's like you're allowing that seed the space and time it needs to grow without you doing very much other than being with the experience. Feeling this ebb and flow. And as of this recording, there is this gorgeous full moon. Feel how this full moon draws you up and out. And then in a few weeks, there'll be the new moon and it draws you in. As you find your ebb and flow, sometimes you open more. And now, while you're in your practice, stay in your practice. And I'll read the passage to you one more time so we can imprint it into your separating and returning. Cycles. There must be separation before one can return. There must be winter before there can be spring. Every seed needs time for growth. Every woman needs time for herself. The moon creates the tides, and a woman in touch with her own nature welcomes the ebb and flow of life. Cycle. As we start to feel into this ebb and flow of life, of our own personal lives and of the cycles and seasons, we might become aware that we're in multiple cycles at the same time. There are parts of our lives, our relationships that may be growing and opening up to new possibilities. And there's places and relationships that are closing and creating a distance. There are places in our sacred work where we're open and stretching and expanding and learning new things. And then there's times where we're drawing it back in. I'm going to be silent for a moment while you tap into your ebb and flow and your cycles, creating the time and space you need for your seeds of intention, your seeds in your garden to grow. And feeling into the places where maybe things at first where separation felt like something you didn't want. They're separating, they're moving away. And how you can see that, shift that perspective as an opening and a possibility for return. And now we're starting to complete this practice. So we're staying in the motion, staying in this movement, but we're slowing it way down. And we're starting to make it smaller, like we don't go as high or as far. And we're softening it even more. And as we do, we're moving like silk, one continuous fluid motion of opening and ebbing and flowing as we separate and return, slowing everything way down as we come to a completion. And as we do this, we're harvesting the gifts of this practice. We're receiving the wisdom and embodying it, embedding it into our energetic body, slowing it way down, making it even smaller. And even smaller until you start to return home, letting the top hand float down to your bottom hand, making this chi ball where you plant your seeds. This chi ball, take all the time you need to plant your seeds into this energetic field as you sense and feel this chi ball in the palm of your hand. Also knowing that this chi ball is in your dantian, it's in your belly. So planting the seeds, and the cycles, and the remembrance of how to ebb and flow into your chi ball and into your dantian. And take this chi ball, and you can put it anywhere. I just naturally just put it on the top of my head so it starts to permeate and saturate into my upper dantian, down middle dantian, down to lower dantian. But you could also take this chi ball and rub it in and give yourself a chi bath, nourishing yourself, blessing yourself, rubbing it in to all your nooks and crannies and all your spaces, so you can embody it and move through the world as one who's in contact with your true nature, the one who cycles, the cyclical woman. Everything you touch changes, and everything changes, touches you. And we're start to complete as we draw our hands up, drawing up that earth energy and collecting that heaven energy and drawing it into our bodies as we stand between earth and sky, of both mixture of both form and formless. Closing down, completing and integrating. One more. Just really feeling yourself coming to a sense of that you've harvested and collected the experience. And now, the next one, your hands are going to float up, and then your feet are going to step together. And this time it's your official all the way closing. You're drawing all this energy down, down out of your mind, out of your head, so you have clear, spacious mind, and out of your middle dantian, so your emotions are present and calm, and you have plenty of room to feel whatever you need to feel, and draw it down into your dantian. And you can open up your hands and send it down the outside of your body, down the yang channels, down into the earth, and seal this into your dantian. Everything that's wisdom for you, you can harvest it and harness it here. And make a small circle, sealing it in one direction, small circle the other direction. Beautiful. Right hand makes a fist as we bow out. There's a part of us that rises in the cycle, and then the other hand covers it like the moon. There's a part of us that draws back in and is always changing. And as we bow to the Tao of Women. We bow to each other. We bow to the cycles that we're in. We bow to our true nature and the ebb and flow of life. We bow to our teacher's teachers, and the teacher within. As we inhale, draw that back into our body, and we step across the threshold, and we go back into our life. and we shake it off, shake it up, have a good time, ebbing and flowing, cycling through the world. I invite you to, if you don't have the book, get the book. Ching. If you do have the book, awesome. And I invite you to Qigong class. We have a whole bunch of classes starting soon. Okay. And pretty please share this with your friends. And I'll see you next time. Walk in beauty, my love.